Joe Biden and John McCain, a friendship that spanned the political divide, a case study. We'll start today's case study with the introduction, and we'll start that off by introducing the early life and non-political aspects of both John and Joe Biden. Starting off with John McCain, he was born John Sidney McCain III on August 29th, 1936 in the Panama Canal Zone. This caused him some trouble later in life when he ran for president, as he had to, as the Senate had to decide if he was truly a natural born US citizen. The Panama Canal Zone was under US territory at the time, and they did decide that he is, in fact, a natural born US citizen. He's the son and grandson of US Navy admirals and was said and once said that his family's heritage lied in the military. He himself graduated from the United States Naval Academy in 1958. And after that, he married his first wife, Carol Shep, in 1965. After they were married, he served in the Navy during the Vietnam War and was captured by the North Vietnamese in 1967 and was a prisoner of war for 6 years. During this time, he suffered injuries without proper medical care. He was tortured. He was held in solitary confinement, and his father had arranged to get him released, but he denied getting released and said he would not leave until the rest of his fellow Americans got to leave too, and they were all released together in 1973. And he was welcomed home as a war hero after that. And then in 1977, he became the Navy's liaison to the Senate, which is what he says really started his political career. And during this time, he entered in an extramarital affair, and him and his wife, Carol, decided to get a divorce, and he remarried to Cindy Lou Hensley in 1980. He retired from the Navy in 1981 and did eventually succumb to a rare brain cancer in 2018. And Joe Biden was born Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. on November 20th, 1942 in Scranton, Pennsylvania. He was raised in a Catholic family with humble means. They didn't have a lot of money. He was raised in apartments, and his family moved from Scranton to Newcastle, Delaware in 1953. There, he earned his bachelor's degree from the University of Delaware in 1965 and married his first wife, Nelia Hunter, in 1966. During that time, he earned his law degree from the Syracuse University, graduating in 1968. And then he went back and served on the Newcastle County Council from 1970 to 1972. Joe Biden was elected to the US Senate in 1972, representing Delaware. And just 2 months after he was elected, tragically, his wife and his infant daughter were killed in a car accident, and his 2 young sons were injured. Despite this tragedy, Joe Biden continued to stay in the Senate and joined in 1973 as a single father. 4 years later, he married Jill Jacobs in 1977, and tragically, he lost his son Beau to a rare brain cancer in 2015. Getting into their political careers, Joe Biden is a Democrat. He was the 47th president and now the 46th president. He was the 47th vice president and now the 46th president of the United States of America. After joining the Senate in 1973, Biden was reelected 6 times. He pursued the Democratic presidential nomination in 1988, but didn't get far after there was a scandal about his speech. And he served on a couple of committees in the Senate, and he served as chair of the Judiciary Committee from 1987 to 1995, and as the chair of the Senate Foreign Relations twice, once from 2001 to 2003, and again from 2007 to 2009. He pursued the Democratic presidential nomination again in 2008 and lost. However, he joined President Obama's ticket in 2008 as vice president, and they won. They were again reelected in 2012. And Joe Biden went on to pursue the Democratic presidential nomination again in 2020 and won both the nomination and the election. John McCain's political career, he was a Republican congressman of the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate. After serving as the Navy's liaison to the Senate from 1976 to 1981, McCain followed his political aspirations. He followed his new wife, Cindy, to Arizona and was elected to the United States Congress representing Arizona in 1982. McCain was elected to the U.S. Senate 2 years later in 1986 after serving 2 terms in the U.S. House of Representatives. He pursued the Republican nomination for president in 2008 and lost. And he also pursued it again first he lost it in 2000, I'm sorry, I misspoke. And then he pursued it again in 2008. And he won the Republican nomination for president, but he lost the general election to Obama and Joe Biden. Then he went on to win his sixth and final term in the US Senate in 2016. And just a brief introduction to their friendship. John McCain and Joe Biden met while Biden was a US Senator and John McCain was a Navy liaison to the US Senate. Joe Biden saw John McCain as a war hero and looked up to him when he came home from being a prisoner of war at Vietnam and then joined the Navy liaison to the Senate. Joe Biden wanted John McCain to be his liaison because he looked up to him. They served in the Senate together on opposing sides for 3 decades, often reaching across the aisle and helping each other in the Senate. The Bidens and the McCains were family friends outside of the political sphere, often having barbecues together, and they were just really involved in each other's lives. McCain was a strong figure for Biden's son, Beau, who was also in the military. And he was really there for him when he was dying of a rare brain cancer that John McCain later succumbed to as well. And before his death in 2018, McCain urged Biden not to walk away from politics. And, now Joe Biden is the 46th president, winning that in 2020. And there are some differences in similarities. However, I think there are more similarities than there are differences between them. And John McCain and Joe Biden were friends despite their political differences, which I think their political difference is really where their differences lie, and everything else is similarities. John McCain was Republican while Joe Biden was Democrat. But Joe Biden and John McCain both had a deep sense of loyalty and love for their country. They were both able to cross the political divide and overcome bipartisanship in the Senate. Um, they were able to overcome bipartisanship struggles in the Senate, and both men faced enormous tragedy and difficult challenges in their life. With Joe Biden losing his wife and his daughter so early, and then losing his son to such an aggressive cancer, and John McCain having gone through what he did, being a prisoner of war, and then also succumbing to the same brain cancer. And I also just thought it was interesting that they both served 6 terms in the US Senate and both worked in politics into their 80s. And both the Biden family and the McCain family were there for each other when each family suffered a loss from this rare brain cancer. And these were just some really memorable quotes that I thought really summed up their relationship. This first one is by Joe Biden in 2018 when he delivered his eulogy for the late John McCain. For some reason, we hit it off in the beginning. We were both full of dreams and ambitions and an overwhelming desire to make the time we had there worthwhile, to try to do the right thing, to think about how we could make things better for the country we love so much. And then the second quote is from John McCain in 2014 in an address to the Senate. And here he's referencing Joe Biden. We've been friends for almost 40 years, since I was the Navy's Senate liaison and used to carry your bags over on overseas trips. I joked recently that I've resented it ever since. Here's what I've also known about my friend, an occasional sparring partner. He is a good and decent man, God-fearing and kind, a devoted father and husband, and a genuine patriot who puts our country before himself. I know too that it has been a great privilege to call him my friend. And then lastly, I just wanted to show you guys this video that I think does a really good job of summing up their relationship.
Shouldn't have worked. John, a former Navy pilot just released from a North Vietnamese prison. Joe, a young senator from Delaware. But in the 1970s, Joe was assigned a military aide for a trip overseas.
I was the Navy's Senate liaison and used to carry your bags on overseas trips.
The son of a gun never carried my bags. He was supposed to carry my bags, David, but he never carried my bags.
John and Joe traveled thousands of miles together. The families got to know each other, gathering for picnics in the Bidens' backyard.
They would just sit and joke. It was like a comedy show sometimes to watch the two of them.
But when John was elected to the Senate as a Republican from Arizona, they found themselves on opposing sides.
We're in different parties. We hold different views on many issues.
They'd be going at it on the floor, and you'd think, oh, these guys must really, really, really dislike each other. And they'd be having dinner that night together.
Senator Biden had great respect for the institution of the Senate. He built relationships that were cordial, that were personal.
We've always been willing, when we thought the other guy was right, cross the aisle and lock arms. It's good for the country.
It takes trust to get things done in a divided government. And I think with Joe Biden, his colleagues knew that your points are equally valid to him.
Even if a deal seemed out of reach, it was always Joe who tried to cross the aisle.
He was like a natural for that. He just had an ability to find the common ground, but never give up your principles.
For 3 decades, Joe was able to move his colleagues and find a way forward. On violence against women, banning chemical weapons, assault weapons, and controlling nuclear arms.
was a style of legislating and leadership that you don't find much anymore.
And when millions of Americans were faced with losing their health insurance, it was Joe's friend who saved Obamacare by crossing the aisle.
McCain passed his vote with a thumbs down.
John and I have been given several awards about bipartisanship. We don't understand why you should get an award for bipartisanship.
Thank you for your example and how to remain the same good guy that you were when you first got here. Most of all, for your friendship. My life and the lives of many have been enriched by it.
Yeah, so we just thought that this video, while it does sort of sum up everything that I've stated previous to this, we thought it was really beautiful and really showed how important it is that people can look past differences and come together in such an unlikely friendship. Thank you.